Yo, what's going on? We're back again. WrestlePurists Worldwide, episode 19, something like that. Joined by the usual co-host Joe Hulbert. Ibu of WrestlePurists, better known as Backup Hangman. Manny the Hooper will be joining us very shortly. He's running late, he's worth the wait, though. He's worth the wait. We're going to be talking discourse. We're going to be talking a lot of discourse. We're going to talk the Ring of Honor TV tapings. A lot of people have been fired up about them, myself included. Kenny Omega discourse, CM Punk discourse, all of that. But firstly, Joe Hulbert, the veteran round here, the professional. How you doing on this fine Monday evening?
I'm terrific. Very interesting weekend because I think an adult could argue that it was actually a very quiet weekend. But if you're a true animal and sicko like the three folks are on screen right now, you'll know that it was not quiet at all. There was lots that went on, lots of discourse, as Monty said, and as the chat is kind of indicating, I see, which is nothing's really happened, but it feels like a lot has happened. It feels
a lot of talk.
Yeah, a lot of talk, which is I guess what we do around here. So I'm fabulous, Monty. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Pass the ball to Ibu, Backup Hangman. You've been fired up this evening, but just to be polite, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Had a day off from work, recovering from the old wounds. Resting the body. But even better, it's just been a great day for me on social media. Every time I open Twitter, it's like more good news. You know what I mean? I open and we have wrestlers in AEW supporting Chicago Phil, Pepsi Man, Phil Brooks. I opened Twitter again, and Chad Gable is wrestling Cody Rhodes tonight. The W's don't stop for me, and I think what it is, it's the universe rewarding a good man like myself. Finally, So
I don't know about all that.
I am fired up. Shout out to Dax Harwood. Shout out to Mark Henry. Shout out to Jade Cargill. Shout out to Ricky Starks. Shout out to my man Brody King, one of the best big men in wrestling all over the world. These are good men and women. These are good men that support WrestlePurists. They support great wrestlers and greatness. So shout out to all of them, and I'm happy to be here on Worldwide.
Yeah, man. Starting with positive vibes. Say the least. But yeah, before we get into all of it, please like, subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, if you're feeling ever so generous, send in those super chats as well. We've got a couple. Again, Parker's long lost child. He's back again, looking for Papa. Papa, please come back. Yeah, he's on the channel tomorrow, and you can talk to him, but can't help you tonight, brother. The Pro Wrestling Podcast 99 super chat.
Oh,
99-cent super chat. Appreciate it.
The catalyst for a lot of greatness.
Yeah, CM Punk likes commenting on their Instagram posts. It seems. It's always them. It's always them. When he's got something to say, he'll be creeping. He'll be creeping in them comments. Should we just start with that? Should we just start with CM Punk? Seems like
we have, right?
I mean, I'm looking at the live chat now, but we just pulled those super chats up. It's like, yeah, we'll just dive straight into CM Punk. So, I guess this all started today's discourse anyway. With the Mark Henry stuff, I guess. So Mark Henry busted open. He was feeling a bit spicy today, obviously. And let me pull up the actual quote. Right, so on Busted Open, he said, if I was in charge, I would bring him back, and I would bring him back with him saying to the wrestling world, not an apology, but just state the facts. Grown men will disagree, and things will be said that probably shouldn't have been said, and I regret airing my dirty laundry in front of the world. It won't happen again. Do we agree on everything? No. Can we work together and exist and have a business relationship? Yes. I will not let my personal feelings, my personal gripes and concerns interfere with business again, because ultimately the important thing is business, and I am the business, and business is good. AEW is better with me around. Then we took part of that quote, put it on Twitter, and there's been quite a lot of discourse. I'm try to think of each step now. So yeah, there was a lot of talk about that on Twitter. Then it was taken by, let me pull them up again,
Okay.
Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Yep.
These guys here, they put it on Instagram as well because they, this is a good little Instagram page. You should follow them. But yeah, they take quotes and stuff like that, and they post news and do all that sort of stuff. And they posted that, and someone commented something on it, and CM Punk replied to him saying that he wants to come back. He said he's going to wrestle again just to piss this person off, and there's been a lot of talk. There's been a few wrestlers retweeting things, liking things. There's people talking, giving the take. So he looks more and more each day like CM Punk is going to be coming back. CM Punk also posted his Instagram story saying it's clobbering time. CMFTR teases. Yeah, man. He's starting to show up again. Like he's starting to show up at shows. He's starting to like comment on things like this today. People are talking, and it's like not much official movement has happened at all. Well, none has happened as far as we're aware. So, it's another day for CM Punk discourse. Ibu, I'll let you kind of just get your shit off, man. Just do your thing.
Look, listen. At the end of the day, we can all see what's happening here, and we can all see where this is leading to. It's very clear. It's very obvious. The end point and the inevitable is coming. And for those who have a problem with it, I don't know what to tell you other than to just make peace with what's coming. And that's the fact that AEW's greatest wrestler of all time, AEW's biggest star, biggest box office star, biggest ratings mover, biggest draw is returning. The man that sold out the United Center on a rumor, the man that sold out the building that Michael Jordan won 3 championships in, is coming back to AEW. Some might see that as a bad thing. Monty had to sneak in a fist bump. I saw that. But at the end of the day, he's coming back. He's going to reunite with FTR, who are absolutely staying in AEW, and he's going to draw some money. Now if your boys want to do business, what I'm talking about. If your boys want to stick around and play ball, they're going to play ball and they're going to draw some money. But if they want to, run and go wrestle The Miz, Madcap Moss, that's also their prerogative. If that's what they want to do, many blessings to them. Who am I to tell people what they should do with their careers? I'm nobody. But in my humble opinion, it'd be real wrestling if everybody stayed put and made some magic. And magic would absolutely happen if CMFTR reunited in AEW.
That's quite the promo there. Quite the
promo. He really tried.
I think that covers it, really. I don't know if I agree with everything. I know we need to have the Madcap Moss part in my personal statement, but you can speak for yourself. I'll say it certainly feels like we're headed towards decision time, quote unquote. I think that decision seems like it's been made, but that seems like kind of why things are heating up to me, anyway.
We knew it was coming this time of year.
Yeah, exactly.
March, April, May time. So.
But I remember at one point it did feel like, whether people believed it or not, to me anyway, it felt like at one point this was going to just kind of be a it felt like they were going to try and handle this beforehand. The buyout talk, the injury obviously complicated that. Yeah. I think there's kind of increasing evidence that the injury in a weird way was the best thing that could have happened for the whole relationship with him and Tony Khan. What that means for his relationship with everyone else, I don't know. I can't speak to that, obviously. But yeah, there are a lot of moving pieces here. Ultimately, I'm just at a point where I'm happy. I'd be very happy to see him wrestle again. I'd certainly miss his presence on the TV show. He can kind of bring stuff to Dynamite that I think is kind of singular to him at this point, which is very special, and I enjoyed having him on the show. So it looks like that's where we're headed. The potential ramifications of that are very hard to read from this far away. But it does feel like there are potential ramifications that will kind of, we'll figure out what those are as they come along and how they affect the promotion. But simply looking at CM Punk in a vacuum, I would very much like to see him on the program again because I think he adds an awful lot to pro wrestling TV. He can do, again, it's not just like his matches, people can debate those forever and that's fine. But what he can bring in terms of storytelling, the angles he can shoot, the kind of programs he can work, he's very unique in that regard at this point. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back. even when that happens. So yeah,
Big girl for Tony Khan, man.
they're all big ears, man.
No, but even this one especially because
I'm
it's
with you.
contract season for the EVPs. It's
Is that
CM
this
Punk.
year though? Genuinely.
Allegedly, Kenny Omega's deal was reportedly up sometime between early February and the end of January.
Right.
Then apparently they've tacked on time for his injury, and now we're looking at around November. So still this year, but just about. So
Right.
maybe like Full Gear would be his last like show on that
Bucks
contract
next year, right?
specifically. I don't know.
I think the Bucks
Could be
contract.
this year.
I think they did they took an option on it, didn't they? I think.
Maybe.
Wait. Are we
Ibu, do you
talking
remember
about
this? The Bucks contract situation?
Yeah, it's expiring at the beginning of 2024.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
There's a lot of time.
And Kenny Omega's is expiring at the end of this year. Kenny Omega's deal was set to expire early 2023, and his injury time has been tacked on. It is unknown if Kenny disputed this, but at the end of the day, AEW holds the legal right to exercise this, which they did with Kenny Omega, and that would leave him in a similar spot with the Bucks in the sense that the expiration of their deals is separated by maybe at most about six to 8 weeks. So yeah, Kenny Omega expires at the end of the year, has not re-signed yet. Young Bucks, their deal expires in early 2024. They have hired Barry Boom to negotiate their extensions, which have to this point not been re-signed.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I think I said it last week, and I'm going to just reiterate it here. I do think there is a middle ground, a very healthy middle ground between the two extremes of like one or the other. You know, the elite leave or Punk doesn't come back. And the alternative of they do a program together. It does feel like there's a pretty sizable middle ground there where they could just both exist in the same promotion without crossing paths. The Hooper is here, folks. So
Hooper is here.
I think in some ways that's the most likely scenario. Again, the feud will be great to see, but I do think there's a good chance they just kind of exist in their own orbits in AEW. I don't think they'll be surprising at all, but how you navigate that would be exactly good.
Real quick before we dive into some super chats, Manny the Hooper, he's here. He's here on his flu game shit. You know,
big man is back.
Yeah, the big man is back. Manny, what's going on, bro? I know you've been feeling a bit, you ain't 100% right now, but you're showing up because love of the game.
Bro, I don't know what the fuck happened, bro. I was feeling so much better, like around 2:00, and I said, "Fuck, man, I kicked this shit's ass." And then I took a nap while watching Rocky. Woke up and I felt like I got hit with the truck. I was like, "What the fuck?" Man? I stumbled out of bed. I was just like, "Man," and then the Rocky's over, and I said, "Now I got to rewatch that shit from the beginning." And then, fuck. Man,
why do you have to watch it back from the beginning? That's interesting to me. Can't you just pick up from where you last were?
Yeah, but I mean, I fell asleep like maybe 15 minutes in.
Oh, okay, fair. Look at the people rocking for Manny. What a house!
Yeah, we're finally we got the team together. Okay, super chats real quick because we got a few that have built up. Okay, Breezy $4.99. Happy Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lee for winning the tag titles week. I mean, good luck to you, bro. Good luck to you. Todd Bowley, $5. Appreciate you. If I were Tony, I'd let Kenny Omega walk and sign CM Punk to an 8-year contract extension for 150 million. I mean, it sounds like something he'd do. He's on that crackhead shit, Darren Walker, £2. Appreciate you. Any chance backup sings Cult of Personality?
If you pay,
probably.
Listen, you know what? We'll do it. We'll do it on Purists rules, man. You drop the bread, I'll sing whatever you niggas want me to say.
Philip Jack Brooks, CM Punk, $20. Ibu, backup Hangman. While you sit there, hopefully as comfortably as you possibly can be, I want you to read this. CM Punk, that's what I've heard for 7 months. I heard you, and we got a lot to cover.
Philip Jack, you are a tremendous professional wrestler, a maverick in the industry, and I'm looking forward to your return. So thank you so much for the $20.
This is getting out of hand. I'm part of it, I can tell.
Appreciate the super chat though, as always.
Yes,
Pylon's $5. Brie Bella will be at Revolution there to watch the match or see a title change.
Shoot an angle, brother. She's the third woman. She's Hogan. Yeah, keep your eye on it.
It's not even the one that they call Masawa, right?
No, it's not.
No, Nikizawa.
No.
She may have learned a new hold, brother. You don't know. Things may have
You
changed.
never
There's
know.
lots of in there.
Philip Jack Brooks again, CM Punk. Appreciate it again, $10. There's good news and bad news. The bad news is there is not a lot of characters available on YouTube. We're not going to get to it all right here, right now.
Very good.
A lot to say, you know. Really living the gimmick in the live chat right now. There's another one as well before Manny jumps in. $10 again, appreciate it. But the good news is I've got time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Purist, and every other Sunday on ACA. I've got the time and I ain't going anywhere. These are good quotes, man. You know, these are good quotes.
They're both from iconic Phil promos, the pipe bomb and the AEW debut promo.
I mean, if no one's caught on to that at this point, then you know,
Yeah.
must be very weird hearing me read these comments out right now. You know,
They're like, what is happening here?
what is this
Manny,
British guy doing right now? You know?
Manny, my friend Manny, my main man Manny. I know you've been very physically compromised today. Have you been up? Have you been up to? He's been through it, man. I can see. So Manny, have you been up to date with what's been going on with Pepsi Man today?
Well, man, I thought that's what gave me my energy earlier. I saw those posts on Instagram, and I said, "Oh,
This is shameless, man. This is us fought together on this topic is so dangerous.
But did you guys see that? Did you guys talk about that story that came out yesterday with Punk? Because the thing is funny is like when Punk says he didn't want to win the AEW World Title, and then Heyman dropped that workers' rights line. Then he was like he talked to Tony Khan on the porch, and they switched everything around. That's some mob shit, man. Mob ties, you know.
The porch was crazy. That was very good. Very good layer. Good detail. That was real graphs right there.
That's what Jericho's gonna do when he beats Ricky on Sunday. He's like, he brought him over to his porch and said, "Look, brother, Ricky's not too long for the company."
Well, I'm not sure Tony's showing up to that meeting at this point, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens, you know. Okay, Jacob Donnelly, $5. I'm going to need to see FTR return this Wednesday and save this AEW tag team division. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people hoping for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd expect it's them.
I think Sting and Darby on Wednesday.
Maybe.
I think they come back after.
I think it's one of those two.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe the Guns win and the FTR show up at the pay-per-view, you know. So we'll see. Maybe not Wednesday, but maybe this week, you know. But who knows? They're doing the whole Twitter, you know, back and forth.
We're mad at AEW and we're gonna leave. Like, all right,
bro. I saw people betting money saying, "I'll bet the house that they don't come back," and I was like, if I had a lot of money, I would take you up on that offer.
There's definitely like a consensus, not in our bubble, but there is definitely an online read that like, oh, they're done, which is kind of fascinating to watch from our perspective because I think we're all like they're definitely staying. It's all a bit. There's so many different like segments of the online audience at this point. It's kind of bizarre to watch it, you know. Like sometimes I'll see people talk about FTR like, well, can't wait to see the rest of the Usos. And it's like, I don't know if that's going to happen, fellas. I think this is probably like all some sort of.
It's shifted back and forth while they've been off, and they haven't even been off that long, which is fascinating.
Yeah, so a couple months, yeah.
You should go 45 with Von Erichs.
Guys, I saw someone reply to like someone about an FTR post. It might have been like on a Fightful thing or something, and the reply was like, I heard they go to WWE, and someone replied like, "What are you basing that off of?" And he's like, "Well, he had the contract in his picture, and he kind of cropped it out when he posted it again." And I was just like,
yeah. Like, look, to be fair, I don't. It's like Carl just said in the chat. I'm not saying that the actual bit itself is like good because I don't really think it is, but it's just interesting to see how differently it's been taken in different parts of the kind of wrestling Twitter world. You know, like some people are just like, well, I guess they're going to be at Payback or whatever the fuck. So we'll see. See what happens.
Something like that. Okay. The Somali Nomad, $10 Canadian. In 6 months, CM Punk will GTS the beta energy out of Jungle Baby. Manny was on the timeline earlier calling Jungle Boy bias. Incredible. Manny was doing some serious art. It made me realise this morning when I saw that he was ill, I popped up, I messaged him, and I was like, "How's it looking?" And he was like, "It's not looking good. It's real bad." You know, I was quite worried. And then he kind of sprung to life later on in the day with all the CM Punk stuff, and that's when I slid in and was like, you feeling the game later. So he's going to show up and drop a flu game.
Yeah, before I took my nap, the last thing I tweeted was I saw the graphic of Cody's wrestling Chad Gable, and I said, "Wow, a real American hero is going to lay down to a fake American hero." And I don't remember even tweeting that. And then my tweets were blown up. I said, "Man, I did that." Yeah.
As always. Okay.
Hey man, real quick, Montel, how are you feeling about Cody Rhodes taking on Chad Gable tonight?
It's good shit. Yeah, what do you want from me?
Sounds like
to jump up and down, and it's good shit. No. Everyone knows it's good shit.
Yeah.
Darren Walker, £4. When Punk returns to AEW, I hope to see AO on a Thursday podcast.
No, fuck, man. Punk's gonna find where he works and just give him a GTS there.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna want to be on that podcast when CM Punk comes back.
You're gonna have like eight people asking to be on it.
Monty might just go live.
Yeah,
you should do, actually. Yeah, you should honestly.
Mid show.
Yeah, but the guns follow. You just go, fuck it, we're going live.
Yo, what if he just showed up at Revolution?
Oh man, that's where you make all your super chat money right there. You just go live right after. And
going
spend
live
3
at
hours
like
on
6
Punk.
in the morning.
Do we think
the Joe Hulbert shift?
Genuinely, do we think it's at all possible that they do the reverse from All Out, and Max wins, and then Punk sort of has a similar return the way Max did All Out, and they have a kind of standoff
at Revolution?
Yeah.
Nah.
Because the last thing he did on screen was with Max. I think it's easy to forget that because we're talking about the Elite stuff, but they didn't do that match. That was the next step.
I don't know. I think Brian's gonna win, and then you gotta save that special debut for Mercedes Moné. She's debuting.
What a pivot that was! That was peak.
Oh my god!
Manny turned that into Brian's winning the belt and Mercedes Moné show.
What Manny does is he just
slows him in, bro.
He says what he wants to happen, as if it's a definitive thing that's happening, and sometimes he does luck into things serendipitously happening somewhat.
He's one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if this will happen. I don't think Manny Damas, I guess. I don't think Mercedes is showing up anytime soon, nor do I think Bryan Danielson's winning the championship. But I mean, look, Mercedes for Forbidden Door is absolutely possible. It should happen. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Manny's bit about Jay White is actually going to shoot an angle at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor was fucking awesome. Because he's you read it and your instinctual reaction is that is tremendous, and then you kind of go, hold up, why is he going to Ring of Honor? It's I don't know. Fuck it.
Then I forgot that he's also in the ladder match. He could just come in and give him a Blade Runner, because Eddie Kingston's gonna be looking at these ladders and be like, "What the fuck you want me to do with these ladders? I can't do anything."
Wishful thinking, man. You got to have faith. Okay, 522 as always. Legend around these parts. $10, appreciate it. Jungle Boy was low-key dragged in the scrum too when Punk mentioned we have people going on TV saying stuff they can't. It was 2 weeks after Jungle Boy had Christian is a... what does that even meant to say? A pussy?
Pussy, yeah.
Yeah, Christian is a pussy shirt.
He spelled pussy wrong too.
Well, to be fair, I mean, about 4
That's what threw me off, the fun.
About 4 days before he said that, he still said fuck, so... I mean...
Whoa,
he
still created magic though. I rewatched it.
It was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. That was an incredible segment. But I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know if there was a few different things going on at that time in terms of people saying stuff they shouldn't. That happening legitimately the week of that show, so I don't know.
So in other news.
Yes. There's other news?
Oh, apparently. Well, we kind of touched on it, but Kenny Omega's apparently open to the idea of joining WWE, which is I mean, I guess it sounds obvious that he at this point in his career, he's going to be somewhat open to it. How open he is to it is a completely different story, How willing he is to pursue that interest is a completely different story as well. But, a lot of people do kind of think, they have that mentality of, Kenny Omega, he would never go to WWE. And it's
yeah.
I don't know about all that, like we was talking about earlier, I guess when it gets towards the end of the year, it's going to be a really interesting time. Is Kenny Omega going to let his contract run up and see what offers he gets? Same with the Young Bucks. Or is Tony going to be able to hold them down and not even get the chance for them to get offers? Which I think most fans of AEW think that's what he should do, is lock them down before they even can get the offers. Because
Yeah.
you don't want to be competing, they're your guys. Like, they're the guys that built the foundation that you started with. So you don't really want to be in a position where you're even, having these negotiations and they're going into free agency and blah 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 blah. Like, you want them locked down and committed. Like the EVPs, man. Like, even if they don't have all the control that they used to in the start, it's like a perception and image wise, you've got to lock them down. It would be a huge fumble for Tony to let these guys go,
So
unless they're obviously asking for fucking 10 million a year, which I doubt they're doing. So,
Okay, I'm gonna say this, Monty. I obviously as a fan, I think that it's imperative for AEW to keep the elite because they're so important to just the iconography of AEW, the identity of AEW, the feel of the product. So it's like you have to keep them. It's more so than so many other key guys. They're like must keep talents in my opinion.
yeah.
But with that said, not to say that this means that this or that, but I do think fans should be careful with the whole they're not even gonna look at those contracts. They're not even gonna give it a time. Bro, don't be a mark, man. There's so many people when Cody Rhodes is a free agent, we're like, oh, come on. He has the reality show. He has all these loose ends to tie on the AEW television. He's turning heel. He's not going to sign with the Fed. And then he turned around and then the guys at WrestleMania. And I'm not saying that Kenny Omega is going to do the exact same thing. I'm just saying at the end of the day, it's a business and these guys are wear and tear on their bodies. And they will absolutely entertain a multi-million-dollar offer if it's in the right situation. So what ends up happening, I don't know. I just know that Tony Khan should definitely take care of that. And I do think it's also interesting that, with Chris Jericho and Moxley, their extensions were wrapped up quietly, briskly, with no consternation or delay in any kind. They just were
Jericho saw his moment, bro.
Yeah, that man.
Man, look,
Jericho saw his moment, bro.
You see that shit coming from a mile away, too.
Bro, I'm telling you, the league came back and they started pillow talking again. They were just like,
bro, Jericho, he didn't even wait till his shit expired. It was like he had a year
Jericho saw Tony needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He needed someone to put his arm around him when all the madness was going on. And I think a lot of us believe that man was Chris Jericho.
Exactly.
I think he believes that as well. Man, he got in there. He got his deal renewed. He got re-upped. And from his point of view, from his agent, he timed that perfectly.
Yes, perfectly. Because Monty, he could have waited. Literally, if he didn't re-up, right, he still right now would have been on the previous deal with no extension. He didn't have to re-up when he did, but like you said, perfect, total worker, total understanding of the business and timing and everything. Swooped in post brawl out and was like, "Yo, just crazy around here. You need some stability. I think we should announce my re-signing right now." And they did. And similar with John Moxley. And listen, more power to him. And that's what I'm saying. It's like with them, they took care of their shit quick, fast, easy, right? And with the Young Bucks, it's like the deals are expiring and there's all this there's all this coverage of it and stuff like that. And so it is interesting. And I'm very curious what, if anything, is the delay of the decision. Is it WWE's sale? Is it who's in charge of their creative? Is it the status of CM Punk? It could be any and all these things. It could be as simple as we're going to wait till the final hour and work the biggest mark into giving us as much money as possible. Who knows? So, it's just something to monitor. And what I can add about this in terms of insight, right, behind the scenes is I do know that WWE loves Kenny Omega. They do think he's really, really good. Interestingly, I don't know how this is going to make you guys react. They don't think he's quite at the level of Cody Rhodes in terms of WrestleMania main event ready, plug in right now type of guy. It's not like with Cody, they saw him, right? And it was like, we could plug this guy in right now and he could be our headlining top guy who goes in every interview and wins the championships and sells merch to the children. They don't think Kenny's like that, but they do think he's really good. And the word I was getting when I was talking to them, and Wade Keller had a little bit of this too, similarly, Monty. We might have talked to the same people. It was a lot of like, yeah, with like our guidance, with our guidance, which tells me that they watch his work, right? And they're like, yeah, we can clean up some of that. We can clean up some of that, which is fascinating. But they do really like him. And I asked someone in creative hypothetically 2 days ago. I said, what would you do right now if you had access to Kenny Omega? How well realistically would you do right now in your company? And the short answer I got was AJ Styles 2016. So there you go.
Good.
Yeah, I think part of it, honestly, is just because it was a lot easier probably for them to like imagine Cody in their system because he's very much a WWE wrestler. I think if Kenny actually got there, it would take like one match and be like, oh, okay, well, he's a guy.
Yeah, never mind.
You know, like I think it's just because they're so obsessed with that, right? Like they're the way their shit works. You have to to see it themselves to believe it. To believe that there's elite talent, pun intended, outside of the company. Like they're just weird, like. But I mean, look, wherever Kenny Omega goes, wherever the Bucks go, they're obviously going to be major players, super important, and have great matches because that's what they do. They've done that forever now. But yeah, I think the real story, if there is one at this point, is what you kind of got at in terms of why this is such a big, why we're getting so much reporting on this so early. Does feel like a tell.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the question becomes, as you said, like, what is the negotiation process? Is it a money thing? Is it a power thing? I still think there is I think there's weirdness around the EVP situation that Tony got himself into that he's not necessarily thrilled with. And I think that's something that could definitely be an issue here because
I totally agree.
Yeah, I think there's a really interesting kind of power struggle on that front. And I think on some level, Tony kind of resents the notion there's anyone but his company, right? Mm-hmm. But it's called All Elite Wrestling and they're EVPs. So the audience absolutely sees it that way. Like, that's just inevitable. That's the way you've set this thing up. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure he loves that, to be honest. And that's kind of like putting 2 and 2 together and getting 7, granted. Like, it's the little things that you kind of put together. But I don't know, man. I think that was a thing with Cody for sure. I think Tony kind of had enough of that. You know?
Dude, listen. Cody himself in the interview with Ariel Helwani, when Ariel was basically trying to ask him, like, how much control do you have over your creative in WWE? He made a remark essentially saying, like, about as much as I did in AEW, which is very little. You know, and it was like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, he basically was like, he was just like, they didn't let me do shit either. You know, for the record, real quick, Cody's lying. He has CC, but but he's
real worker.
Quickly, this is important to clear up because people in the chat are right to say this. I think what you were getting at when you mentioned Mox's contract, because folks in the chat are right, Mox's contract expired, right, and he was working without a deal.
Yeah,
I think what you were getting at was more that it wasn't like a conversation in the media because he didn't have any interest in it kind of being at.
Yeah, no one knew until after the fact.
He didn't even field or what's the word? Entertain the idea of leaving AEW for a WWE offer because he was a free agent and he could have easily let that be known publicly. You know what I mean? He kept it secretly because he always intended to stay. It was just a matter of working out the terms of an agreement to do so, and they took care of it quietly. And didn't even let anyone know that it was an expired deal. Whereas, you know, with the Young Bucks and stuff, whether it's through their people or the people they talk to in the media and stuff, they have no problem with the world knowing, yes, their deals are up. And look, you know, are we open to other offers? Of course they're going to say they are because why wouldn't they? Again, it's a business and you're supposed to get the best offer that you can get.
They don't love AEW.
You said they don't love AEW. By the way, speaking of... okay, go ahead.
Brian Buster 499, appreciate it. WWE confident in a wrestler's interest. What a surprise! Well, the WWE should be confident, you know. If anyone goes into free agency, like Tony should be confident in himself. WWE should be confident in themselves that they can land these top stars because, you know, you should be confident that you've created a product that the elite talents want to go to.
Wow.
Even Scott D'Amore. You know,
fuck Court Bauer, bro. I saw what you did to Davey Richards.
Like what? Where's the Davey? No, what did he do to Davey Richards, man? This is whole shit. What did he do?
He was supposed to wrestle Bryan Danielson.
Oh, is this what did they stop that?
I don't know. That's just my guess.
Oh my goodness.
This is why you can't just anyway. Match
Manny,
fan 84, 199. Do you think TK signs Cornette to manage CMFTR?
No.
Absolutely
No.
not. He's way too online
No.
to
Yeah,
think it's a good idea to sign Jim Cornette.
No, that's not happening.
Especially for that audience. Like, come on, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, brother. Showtime Spurs, $5. The perception of all 4 EVPs going to WWE will not be something AEW would recover from. I mean, like, perception's
Yeah.
big. Like, it's a big thing, man. And perception's reality a lot of the time in wrestling because, you know, a lot of wrestling fans don't really care to like look at the finer details and that kind of stuff, you know.
Right.
The perception
Don't
is
worry,
reality, and if you lose all your EVPs to WWE, like I was saying earlier when we were talking about the contract stuff, it's just like that for perception is like brutal. Like I still think to this day, but it's understated. Like what the like Cody leaving actually done like to the perception, especially to like outside of the bubble, you know. Especially like with it being Cody as well, because he was like properly like the face of like the revolution, as they called it, you know, and he was the guy that would send out to do the interviews and the promos and, you know, the face of it all. And he, you know, he jumped ship and he just
Such a weird situation, man. Like,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
you know, you talk about how, and I agree with you, by the way, in terms of we all kind of just like took it in step and kept going. Like, oh, well, he's left, whatever. It was a big deal in terms of public perception. But that whole story, I think, it's not quite.
It's
Like,
underreported on.
Yeah, it's like it's so bizarre. He was at a point in AEW where he kind of had made himself feel like just another guy. Worse than that, he felt like a nuisance on the show. Like even when he had fun segments, his stuff was fucking insane, man. Like the last 6 months, even more than that, 7, 8 months of his AEW run were crazy. You know, and there was good moments, but a lot of it creatively was terrible. And then he makes this jump, and he's now like in, you know, the prime position to be the top babyface. The company arguably is already the top babyface, probably is. And it's really interesting to like figure out how that happened. And there's a lot of different things. I know Cody has kind of talked about cornering himself with the world title thing, right? And that's a big part of it. But just a really weird kind of unraveling of that whole situation. Very bizarre to me. But
to your point, Joe, it's why when Cody left, right, there was some fan cope of like, well, you know, it's no big deal because at the time, his stuff wasn't particularly helping the show from a quality standpoint, right? So it you know,
that's probably where it did get lost, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like when he left, there was some fans kind of going like, well, you know, we have CM Punk, we got these guys, we got that guys. Cody stuff sucked anyway, so like whatever, right? And so it allowed fans to kind of not really, I think, particularly process properly at the time the weight of Cody's departure, and I think that it's something that you don't really think about, at least for me, until like now when I'm seeing him at his best. Like when you see the good side of Cody Rhodes, like what he's doing right now, it does, at least for me, remind me of like what he was adding to AEW as a product from a visibility standpoint, from when it comes to the interviews, the first year, that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, as brutal of a loss Cody was, it didn't cripple them, right? Not to be a Chicken Little, losing the Elite, like that's a mortifying prospect to me.
Yeah,
It's
like,
also because it's all of them then as well. So
I mean, this, like, I have no, you know, Cody's great, but his connection with that audience was nowhere near as strong as these 3 guys. It just wasn't, right? Like his role in the group was he was the WWE guy. If that makes any sense, right? So it was always kind of, you know, it's different with the Elite, and understandably so. So it would be very different for sure. I do think Cody is also interesting to me because I think in some ways, and I usually hate this argument, it does feel like in some ways the way they kind of control and restrain his instincts in WWE actually helps Cody in a lot of ways. Like he's doing the same promos, but he can't be like, "Hey guys, let's do a fire spot tonight on Raw," which is fun as it is, it's probably not necessary. You know, like, I think, and let me be clear, I'm not saying that would be the case for Kenny and the Bucks. I think they're, you know, they know what they need to be doing there. But that was a problem I do think for Cody at the end. There was he was kind of left to his own devices to feud with guys that he opted to feud with, and it was like the Go feud's the best example, right? That was clearly direct from Cody's brain. Like that whole thing was a thing that he kind of put together for better and certainly worse. So yeah, really interesting. I don't think it's too connected creatively, but in terms of perception, I definitely think the same.
Joe, it's funny that when you say that because it's like with AEW, like these guys have more freedom, the big stars, right? And you really get a feel for what guys in AEW's creative instincts are. And what you learn is that a lot of the boys have bad instincts. And probably shouldn't. He's like, yeah, probably shouldn't like full-time book their stuff. And it's just fascinating because it's like you do really get their flavor, their take on wrestling, right?
You need
And
you need filter. You need quality control. You need these things in place.
Quality
You need to
control is
pass
key.
you need to pass things through like a few minds that you at least respect. You know what I mean? Have a team, a committee that you bounce ideas around about, and stuff has to get passed by not just one person and the talent. And like it is at the moment, it seems like someone pitches something to Tony, and if Tony rolls with it, then it gets on TV. You know, rather than it getting pitched to Tony, then Tony goes to a group of guys. But I don't know what Tony's exact booking process is.
Right.
But there does seem to be like
it's hard too because
a lack of
he's
quality control.
While the top guys are getting paid really well in AEW, his biggest selling point still has always been that like you have that creative freedom, right? In a lot of ways, that's the biggest get for a guy like a Moxley or whoever it may be. So that's kind of a give and take that you have to be really careful with. Like if you really rein a guy like John Moxley in, before long it might not be as fun to him as it has been for the last few years. So that kind of balance between what's best for the show, and I'm not saying Moxley's a culprit, I'm just saying generally. What's best for the show and what's best for the roster is kind of a balance, I think.
Regarding Mox, it's interesting. Obviously he has the freedom and he can call a shot if he wants to, but generally he really is the good employee type in the sense that like a lot of what he does is he walks in and just does what he's asked to do. And the last time he notably was just like, all right, let's go in this direction that I would prefer was he basically got the BC versus JSU to end when it did. It was his call. He just was like, this is circular. I don't know what we're fighting over anymore. I'm not particularly enjoying it. Danielson is bored. Let's beat the shit out of some young wrestlers and lean heel while doing it and see if we can make some guys. And so they went with that call, and then that's why we opened up 2023 with them doing that TV program with Top Flight, which I think we could all agree that was awesome.
Tremendous.
And that was like a Moxley call, but generally speaking, he's not really the whole like he's not the creative like, oh, and then we'll do this segment and that. That's more like a Jericho thing and an MJF and CM Punk and the Elite. And maybe this might be very biased of me, Monty, but I think it's fair to say that the wrestler who I think their instincts are the most sound and make for the most great television from what I've seen in AEW, in my opinion, is CM Punk. I thought
he's very much catered to yourself and us.
Yeah, that's the thing.
100%. Even if I'm trying to be objective, which is ridiculous to say when we're talking about this subject in particular, but I think he's been around the block. He knows how to tell a story. He's he takes a lot of inspiration from older stuff as well, which is clear to see. And we kind of remodels stories in his own vision with himself inserted into them. So
he's trying to
he's very well versed in that sense.
Yeah. Hey man.
Yeah, man, I got a hot take for y'all, man. Look, the Elite.
Man, he's in a blanket.
The Elite, man, aren't as good storytellers as you think they are, man. Everything else that they've been in besides Hangman stuff is pretty bad.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny, Manny? I'm not gonna.
They're Hangman merchants.
I'm not. Oh my god! You guys might think this is an insane take, and the people in the chat might be like mind blown. They are, in their own way, they are the same of storyteller in terms of how they do it, as like Michaels, Triple H, and the Bloodline. I think that because I thought about this the other day when I was thinking about like stories that people in modern wrestling get into, and they are very like theatrical and melodramatic, and engage in some pantomime. And look, obviously they don't work that way when they wrestle. You know what I mean? But in terms of how they apply and do their stories, is my mic that bad?
It dropped out like brutal. 4 times.
Oh man, let me know. I could have switched. I have like 3 mics. I could have switched. I'm sorry.
Wait, you have 3 mics? Wait, what's
I got 3 mics, man. I got 3 mics, brother.
Always fading in and out, bro. You have to try it with the AirPods. It's like every time, bro. Like, get them out.
The AirPods are going, and
you just happen again, bro. Piss off, man. Anyway, Ben Dixon, $2. Remember how bad the build was to Bucks FTR 1? I like to
Dax explained it. Well, Dak explained it on his podcast. You know, he
Yeah.
just said that it happened out of nowhere really fast.
Yeah, they wanted to get it over and done with, you know. It's like even the second match, bro. It was just like they just beat the Briscoes. And it was like, all right, let's have a Bucks match, and they did one, and it was great, and we all loved it, and they moved on. Like it's,
No, I'm gonna tell you this Ring of Honor stuff that Tony's cooking. We're gonna see how true of a booker he is. His first story right now with Claudio and Kingston. You know, he's already cooking. Yeah.
we lost it.
That's gonna be his real test.
Works for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure we'll be back with a real microphone.
He's got 3 of them, apparently. He's just my
Oh,
favorite
yeah,
talent
there
on
we
the show.
Yeah, he's, but he can't come on camera though. Like, you know.
I just
Anyway,
love that, 3 fucking lives. Tremendous.
He's cool, bro. What I was gonna bring up earlier,
Yes,
kind
mate.
of went in kind of all different directions. Jesus.
Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Yes,
How's my
tremendous.
sound, everybody?
Tremendous. Is that mic 2 or 3?
This is mic 5.
Okay, good.
Jesus. All right. Okay. So Ibu's back. Anyway.
Yeah,
okay.
back.
So what I was gonna say is, when you're looking at the kind of like contract situation and everything, like if you're WWE, it's kind of like almost played out perfectly, in your sense, because it's like Cody being the first one that was available is the ideal scenario because, like, as Ibu said earlier, it's like you look at Cody Rhodes and WWE, he's the easiest to just be like, okay, we'll
Yes.
plug him in the main event, and that's good for perception. And that's good for perception in the sense of if you're an AEW guy, which has been said on many different podcasts on many different platforms, if you're an AEW guy, one of the top guys over there, and you're looking at Cody Rhodes to see how he gets on in WWE, you're getting the best possible display of that because Cody Rhodes was the best possible person for WWE to plug in and show off, like, this is what we can do with someone from AEW. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas if that would have been Kenny Omega, maybe it would have been a slightly bit different, although he would have obviously been treated. I very much do believe what Ibi was saying earlier about kind of like AJ Styles 2016.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe, you know, like still brought on for a big deal, but maybe, you know, maybe it wouldn't be Shane McMahon, but they'll throw him, they'll throw him kind of like a, I don't know, who would they throw him first, you know? I don't think
Kenny would walk in, right? And they'd be like, do something with Seth for 2 months. And then they'd have him, I don't know, fuck around with Judgment Day or something like that.
He'd work with AJ too, I think.
Yeah, he'd work with AJ. They'd do some Bullet Club rehash stuff. He'd have really good matches with guys on TV that are halfway decent and above. And he'd probably start getting his first couple pay-per-view title matches within a few months, you know.
Yeah, whereas like with Cody, it's just boom, plug him in at the top.
Right, yeah.
He's you know, you basically signal very early on that he's going to be the guy. You know, even with Vince, like Vince has done it, Triple H is doing it. So,
bro, his first promo back on Raw was literally like, "I'm going to win the title for Dusty."
Yeah,
that was his first promo. Coming back.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
of course it was.
That is fat. Yo, man,
what happened? Go through the list. Showtime Spurs $2. How have the rest of Triple H's returns been? I guess this is some kind of shot at Triple H. But like, I don't know. Where's the actual list? You know, and we could go through them. Maybe not today, but.
Yeah, I could run through real quick. It's a mixed bag, man. You know, Braun Strowman is very over. He's someone who had cachet with the audience before, so he came back and he's getting the reactions he got not exactly, but near his peak as a babyface.
Oh,
so
we can just do it real quick, like thumbs up, thumbs down. Like, I'd say Braun's a blatant thumbs up. You know,
easy thumbs up for Braun. No. 2 thumbs down for Karrion Kross. It's like 2 thumbs down for Karrion Kross. You know, bro. Thumbs in the middle.
Bro, thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Thumbs in the middle for Bronson Reed. They're trying. He's moderately over. They are trying to push him as a monster. A lot of the women are like in the thumbs in the middle or down because they're not particularly over. People like, you know, Emma and Tegan Knox and stuff like that. Like, they don't really matter. They don't play anything to anything.
There's depth. You know,
It's depth. Yeah, exactly. There's signings that are there.
apparently, I think there was a report. It might have been Sean, Dave, someone
Yes.
like that, but there was a lot of these talents that came in with like the big wave that Triple H signed. Like knew they were coming in as like just depth,
Of course,
you know, because they needed it kind of because
Yeah.
you know in the years prior, Vince and Co sacked like 150 wrestlers, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were just trying to re-establish some depth with a lot of these signings, and I guess that's
I
kind of
think-
why a lot of them haven't been given like much spotlight since
Some
coming
of
back.
them, I think some of them were good choices for depth. I think some of them were like insane reaches to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Hit Row.
Okay.
Hit Row are not, because the whole point of depth is you want guys who are like very competent and know what they're doing when they're slotted in. You know, like
Right.
you don't want guys who don't know their own thing. And I'm not even meaning that as a knock at them. They're all brand new. You
Yeah,
know?
they're not
Right,
exactly
right.
vets, are they? It's not
Like,
like you said, it's not much of a knock on them.
That's a good point, Joe. That's why like a Mia Yim is a good get. It's like, yeah,
Yes,
it's a buy in the women's roster. She can go, she can work, she can do a tag match with someone.
She
It's
knows
fine.
who she is as a wrestler. You know, like you can
Right, right.
plug her in. You know, Emma, she knows who she is, but I don't know if she's like super fired up about doing wrestling. So I don't know. To me, that was kind of crazy because, look, here's the deal. I'm happy for Emma because the usage of her when she was actually there was whole shit. It was wrong. They fucked around with her. It was brutal. Okay, so I get it. And he probably felt like he could do her a solid because she was good for him in NXT and stuff. So that's fine.
Okay.
But as someone that watched her matches outside of WWE, I very seldom do I watch it and go, "Oh my god, this is prime."
Neil Dash.
Holy shit! You know, like it wasn't really the way people perceived them outside the company, which is fine. I mean, her workouts in Impact and stuff was always people used to joke her out like she didn't seem to care about it. Which, I mean, I respect on some of it. Worked for the Good Brothers, but
Dexter Loomis, why?
Yeah,
he's a gimmick, I guess, right?
It just,
but I just, you know, it's not like Danhausen and Cassidy where they're selling loads of merch and shit. You know, like, he's just a gimmick for the sake of a gimmick. I guess. Like,
this is
what
Gargano. That's another one.
Right?
What was that?
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
No, it seems like he, like, right or wrong, it seems like he actually likes that character, right? The Dexter Loomis way. Like, it seems like he's actually into that.
Oh, no, he himself loves it, yeah.
No, he was basically doing it on the indies as well, so.
he continued in, like, the NWA.
So, there's that, but, you know.
Monty's a metrics guy, so, like, some of those gimmick people that, like, don't work much for him, if he looks at it and it's like, oh, this is over, it pops a merch number or something, it's like, all right, fine, you know, but like if not, then it's like, what's the point?
The big one is Bray, because like on a commercial level, Bray's comeback was a success on that first night when they did the business they did. It was a huge success, and like, you know, since then it has not exactly been a smash hit, unless I am very much mistaken. I could be.
So what I'll tell you, Joe, is he gets gigantic superstar reactions in everything he does, whether they are good, bad, indifferent, or even make sense.
Yeah, that's the big thing with Bray. Like he's like over, like in like the old head sense as well. Like he's over for like he's just over now. Like he could walk out there, do a shit in the middle of the ring, and the crowd would fucking chant Uncle Howdy.
Do you not think there's any negatives of him being around though?
Oh, I could list like 9. What are you talking
I'm talking about not from like a fan perspective. What I'm getting at is that's great, but at some point, if you're booking Bray Wyatt and you can't feasibly put him into actual professional wrestling matches, like at what point does that have a negative effect? You know, like I agree with everything he said. He's
when you don't have 5 hours of TV every week to film, I guess.
How much of that does he feel though?
I mean, bro, if he gets 15 minutes a week or something, you know what I mean? His fans get happy. He sells some tickets. People talk online and book horse crap because that's what they do. And, you know, you just kind of move on with your life, you know? I get what you're from a fan perspective, 100% get what you're saying, but like, I think you're trying to say like from like a business, if I was booking the promotion, would I have Bray? If I had fucking 5 hours of TV to fill up every week, and I knew Bray could make me some money, I'd probably sign him. I'll be honest.
But you also have to devise a list of people that you're willing to let wrestle him because they may just fucking be murdered coming out of there. Like it's pretty rough, man.
The bottom 25% of the roster doesn't matter and would would become bigger names working him. So it's like you could sacrifice a couple people. Here's the thing about it, Joe. So here's the thing about it, Joe. I don't know if you saw Monty's tweet about Bray's segment on Friday. He captioned it with no real emotion or personal opinion attached. The mind of Bray Wyatt was the caption. And I couldn't stop laughing. And I saw a lot of people really shitting on his Firefly Funhouse deal that he did. And I watched it, right? And this is genuinely where I am mentally with Bray Wyatt. I watched him do this wacky segment that didn't particularly have a coherent message. And I was like, okay. And a lot of people were like, oh, man, this is stinky. This is garbage. This fucking sucks, right? And my genuine opinion was, this is Bray being Bray. People really like this. Mm-hmm. And as long as he doesn't interfere with the careers of wrestlers that I respect and enjoy, it's not offensive. Which is why him potentially working with Brock Lesnar is way more offensive to me than him putting on a wig and being silly in a Firefly Funhouse for 4 minutes. That's just content that doesn't ultimately matter to me. Go ahead.
That's completely fine, and I agree with it. And he knows how to get stuff over, right? The original Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, the Funhouse. I would genuinely ask you, because I don't know the answer. It's a legitimate question.
Right.
Is the Uncle Howdy thing getting over? Because I watched the Rumble, and when Uncle Howdy showed up, I did not see people hooting and hollering. I see people like, who the fuck is Uncle Howdy and what is Uncle Howdy? That's what I would ask anything.
None of the Uncle Howdy angles have made sense, right? Mm-hmm. And yet every single one of them got big reactions, except that Rumble thing, because what was that? You know what I mean? Like that. He had a weird glow stick match, and then this guy like just jumped off like a cliff, and explosions happened. It felt like parody. Like it literally felt like a Simpsons like bit or something. Like yeah. But to answer you, people cheer the Uncle Howdy stuff. I don't know what it even means. I don't know if Bray is Uncle Howdy or if that's his friend, and they're on the same side now. I don't know what any of it. What do you say? Yeah, it is both.
He's Uncle Howdy. He's his own person. He's, it's sweet. What I would say is, I think like the crowd does make some kind of like movement and noise for him, I guess, but it's just purely out of like attachment to Bray. You know,
of course, it's not like that story is so good.
Yeah, it's like he's not over in his own sense, or like people are into his own. It's just like, oh, it's a Bray tease. You know, it's like like when fucking I don't know if what's the rabbit's name? Rambling Rabbit. Or if that flashed up on the screen or some shit, people would pop for that because it's just Bray Wyatt lore, you know.
What's his big like merch item right now? Is he selling any of those new masks that he seems to wear, or is he?
Probably.
Is he got a t-shirt?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he just moves merch. I think he's just one of those guys. You know, like with Alexa, it was like the Lily doll. And with Roman, it's the t-shirts, and the Bloodline, it's the t-shirts. I think Bray's just like if he drops a mask, it's selling. If he drops a t-shirt, it's selling. Like it's Bray Wyatt.
Yo,
if he drops that
by the way,
title,
I don't know how this comes off. But straight up, Alexa Bliss's Fiendus is like 17 times more offensive to me than like anything Bray has ever done. Like when she comes on television and does
anything strong, bro. He's done some crazy shit, man.
Bro, honestly, I'm literally at a point mentally where like he'll do some weird shit and I'm like, Bray being Bray, brother. You know, but Alexa Bliss, you know, swinging on the swing and you know, crazy. Like the doll sitting on the turnbuckle winking and like
the Shayna feud.
That was so brutal because they did that all like they took Bray off and did that stuff.
Yeah,
that Shayna feud was probably like the worst feud of that. Yeah,
bro,
it was really bad. It was really
literally that's really why you know when people go like Hunter's show is the exact same as Vince's. Like I get PTSD from like 2021, like
it was awful,
Fiendus Bliss and like Jinder Mahal feuding with Drew McIntyre. Like that was some all-time awful television.
The Orton stuff with when Bray was gone, and it was like they just for some reason had Alexa and Randy fill like 4 months of TV doing that shit. It was like so bad, man. It was awful.
It was bad stuff,
literally some of the worst stuff I've ever seen in my life.
100%. A few super chats. Manny's still with us.
I dozed off there for a second.
Ebu, did Triple H really sign Hit Row without seeing if Swerve was willing to go back first? Yes. He assumed that Swerve was going to be with them, and Swerve didn't, and he didn't want to, go back on an agreement because he would look like an asshole. He just came back. He's trying to be the nice promoter. So he lived up to his agreement, and they came on. And yeah, absolutely, Pylons. He thought Swerve was going to be part of the deal.
Yeah. Well, owned. Match on 84, 199. Bray Wyatt talk, going to put Manny in hospital. I mean, bro, he's already on his way. I think we finished him off.
I had to ask questions, folks. I'm sorry. Manny, I'm sorry, mate. Yeah.
The questions
Joe
that need
asked
to be
a very, very important.
the enigma that is Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
If he's anything, he's interesting.
Here's the thing. We have to do this now so that when we start the WrestlePurists promotion and Bray comes up, I have to have the answers ahead of me. You know what I'm saying? Like when you guys start talking about how we need to book him so we can sell the Fiend doll or whatever, like I need to know
ahead of time. Meet and greet before the show.
Yeah, I need to know ahead of time what I'm getting myself into.
That's what we're going to be doing, man. Dan Walker, £5, appreciate you. Hit Row, great entertainment. From Top Dollar, botched a dive, can't do a simple tag, and B-Fab should be sitting in the crowd. I mean,
yeah, they yeah.
You're right, mate. You sound like you're in agony talking about.
Pylons, $5, appreciate you. Who do you guys have winning the ladder match on Wednesday? Manny, who you got? Spring back to life for us.
He's like, what? It's like he's been trying to the stand.
No, I was texting my work because I don't think I'll be able to go with more either. It was called it's kind of weird because now are they doing that thing where you can either choose between the TNT or the All Atlantic title?
Where did you hear that?
I saw it on Twitter.
I don't know. It might be true.
I saw it on
Manny.net.
Yeah. Made it up.
I saw it on Twitter. Who fuck knows? I mean, it's kind of weird because you guys think Wardlow's going to beat Joe, right, on Sunday?
I do, yeah.
So, I mean, who are you going to feed to him? Hobbs, Takeshita?
Exactly, yeah.
And both of those sound like real bad choices to me. Maybe you feed him Commander or something.
It's so interesting, man. Like, I assume Wardlow's winning, so then you kind of go, Hobbs shouldn't just lose to Wardlow next week, right? Or in 2 weeks, whenever it will be. It's kind of a weird... This is an interesting spot.
Nobody's saying they want Hobbs versus Wardlow. People are saying they want the TNT belt on Hobbs. You know what I mean? So it's like the people who are pushing that agenda anyway. Not to say that that's everyone, but there is a lot of people out there like it'd be really cool to see Hobbs get a TNT title. I agree as well. I think he's great, and I think he's kind of like in that position now where that'll do like a lot for him if he could really establish himself regularly on TV, having good matches, etc., etc. But yeah, man. Like I said, people aren't asking for Wardlow versus Hobbs, and people might pop for it when they see the graphic and they're like, big meaty men slapping meat like they always do when there's two big guys.
What's the funny thing about it, Monty? Every time they've had physical interactions, they haven't particularly delivered. Like, they do the big man standoff and pause and wait for the crowd to pop, like they did it in the Revolution ladder match last year.
Neither of them are like work rate guys, Well,
I mean, I don't need them to be at all.
You plug them in with work rate guys. That's what that's what you do. Like people who can really look to. You want to plug them in with people who look at guys like Hobbs, this fucking huge black guy, and being like, I can do some shit with him, like a Darby or a fucking Omega or a Ray Phoenix or whoever that may be, Same with Wardlow. Look at him like he's this fucking big athletic tank that can do fucking whisper in the wind and also throw you into the third row of the crowd. And like, you want to plug him in with people who can really get the most out of it, not put him in with other guys of the same kind of the same.
AEW is really good at laying out matches that don't show a lot of people's limitations. So I've noticed this. Like Tony will either make a match shorter, or he'll throw a stip on it, or something. I've noticed this. Like it's not like gone are the days of like 2006 where Big Show and Kane are thrown out there to wrestle for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like in AEW. What's up, Manny?
I guess it's Wardlow because he went out there and made him work like he's in quicksand or something like that most of the time. Usually, from my memory, AEW, when someone has a limitation, they'll put them with someone that hides it. They'll lay out the match in a way where it's just boom, boom, big spots.
They'll do a stipulation or whatever it is. I think Will Hobbs is winning this match. And I
Who's
think
in it? We got Hobbs, Commander,
Kingston,
Kingston, Ortiz,
Sammy Guevara,
Sammy, Takeshita, and Action Andretti.
I think.
the Big Seven.
Is there a mystery guy in this? Or
I think Takeshita could win it. You know, I could see Takeshita winning.
This is my Monty. You're still ahead of me, okay? Considering I think we want to give Wardlow another shot at this TNT title thing, for better or whether that's, I think that's clearly what they're going to do. Whether they should or shouldn't, we can talk about another time. But I'm intrigued by giving Wardlow the chance to have like a real match with Takeshita. Now, there's one concern I have, and I think it's a real one. The crowd could definitely just decide they want Takeshita to win that match.
100%.
That could achieve the complete opposite of what I intend for it. I think Wardlow's capable of having an exciting real match.
Yeah,
like him.
but it's just the outcome of it is. Like
yes,
said,
that concerns me.
I think your fears would be greatly answered in a big way. You know,
yeah.
Because if that match gets rolling as well, you know,
right.
It's like people love Takeshita, man. They love
for sure.
He's great and he wins them over. He's Takeshita. Like Takeshi's not going to go out there and work heel, you know. So it's like, man, we got a couple of super chats. We've had a good viewership throughout. This,
yeah,
so please,
I wanted
please
to
like and you always do, bro.
Yeah,
just leave it out, you know. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. The likes help, all that good stuff. You know, we don't need
the viewership go up when we're talking about Bray Wyatt.
Probably.
Manny, there's a podcast.
He's a big ratings.
To answer you, Joe, yes, yeah, we actually dropped when we finished the topic and went to.
There you go, Manny. Manny, get working on there, mate. Finding the theme with Manny the Hooper.
Generally speaking, Monty's right. We have had a good house, and I'm really proud, guys, of just this was just supposed to be a show to pop ourselves and hang out on Mondays, right? And then it turned into a show that people started to get used to their schedules and watching this before Raw. And now we're at a point where look at this, 178 people live viewership on a Monday. And I'm happy to note, guys, that I'm happy to note that last week's episode of WrestlePurists Worldwide was the most watched WrestlePurists video of the week.
Well, I'm glad you told me this, Ibu.
Yeah,
I think it's time for me to go back to the negotiation table. We're coming out in a year here, I think, Monty.
Yeah.
I talk turkey, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Also, Bray Wyatt doesn't want me to find him. I'll literally burn his dollars.
Well, no, hold on.
Whoa. There was a lot just happened there. I think we should all move on.
And you see Manny doing his whole gimmick, talking about answering people in the live chat, but we haven't got on screen. You know,
is that what's
talking about burning people's dolls. You know,
Did you say doll?
No, dolls.
Yeah, you thought you said dogs.
I was very concerned.
No, no.
I thought we threatened Wyndham Rotunda's pets. I was very concerned.
Because Joe said you gotta find Bray Wyatt, and I said I'm gonna just allegedly burn his dolls if I find him.
Yeah, that's fine. Burning his dolls is one thing. I thought you went a different direction. I was very concerned, Manny. Very concerned.
Oh, did you know I
saw the concern on Joe's face, and I was like, "Did you think he said that?" Yeah.
It sounded close, right, Manny?
All right, okay. Let's get this super chat up.
Right, mate.
Monty, can you review the Maiko versus Tiff Stratton house show match from this past Friday for me? I know WWE will be sending you those live event tapes. I will request those tapes, and I will force Joe to do a review with me on that.
That's real graps, mate. Hopefully it's a really grainy, shitty fucking hard cam too. That'd be real graps, you know?
Tiffany's probably getting the LA match against Roxanne because Roxanne is taking on Mako in a TV special, NXT Roadblock, and then she's probably facing Tiffany in the LA Mania weekend show, which is interesting. And NXT coaches are really high on this matchup. I got sent the Rock Austin meme, captioned Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne. I'm not there yet, but Monty seems to be.
You need to get them. You need to get there, Ibu. You need to get there.
What is it to not get there for, bro? Like, they're in the
you don't hop on, we're driving off.
Yeah, whatever, bro.
Okay. I like them as prospects. I am not there in terms of like throw these two girls in a ring at a big show, and it's going to be magical right now. But if it is, that'd be great. I'd love to see it. You know.
Have you considered committing to that stance, and if it's not that, just pretending it is? Because that's kind of my play, I think, at this point. So
that's my play with
that.
Bro, I committed way too early with Tish Stratton, and I looked out in a big way, you know.
You did. You got.
And
Seriously
now I'm in for the long haul. Roxanne is just kind of like pretty much anyone who's
good.
seen her in the business, like really like rates her as a prospect. She's literally
Yeah.
21 years of age and has already got like a few years in the business, a former Ring of Honor world champ, and etc. etc. NXT Women's champ. She's already done like quite a lot. So yeah, she's like, you know, she lives up to the nickname of the Prodigy. So, you know, that's kind of where she's at the moment. Whereas Tish Stratt's just like a crazy athlete. She's like she's like cut from like the Charlotte Flair cloth, you know. And she's great, man. And she seems to be like getting really like confident and hang of like the TV character stuff. And she's committed to a current character, etc., etc. So, you know, two
Greg
real
Gagne
prospects,
trained too.
you know.
Monty.
Greg Gagne
Gagne,
trained, bro. You know.
He needs to be front row in LA if they're doing this fucking match. You know, we need to have some stories told.
Yeah, man. Real wrestlers, real prospects.
Did you see my message that I sent to Progress Wrestling?
I've heard of it. I've not seen it, but I've heard that you contacted them directly, which you should have gone through me, obviously,
yes.
famously, you know.
You know, Joe used to be a booker over there. Anyway,
Well, you know.
okay, let's get on to this because we've got a super chat that's even willed it into existence. Looking forward to the new ROH show. So let's go through these tapings, man. I'm gonna just read off like the matches, but I'm not gonna read off all of them because they've done like 20-hour tapings both nights.
They did.
So I'm just gonna read out like the ones that I'd class as like significant or that would at least like pop one of us, you know.
Okay. All right.
So before I get into this, does anyone have anything to say overall about you know, just kind of the spoilers in general? Like, how you feeling about them before I get into them?
I'm legitimately embarrassed by how excited I am. That's I'm at that level. Manny, where are you at?
Tony Khan's going to be a fiend with these run times, man.
Yes,
he went.
be...
You see the first card. It has like 18 matches or something on it.
Bro,
like,
Manny, Murph was at yesterday's taping for 5 hours.
Yeah, I know. I told him because they went long yesterday too. So it's just like, man, Tony doesn't give a fuck about
very long,
like,
very long.
Yeah. His lack of restraint could be an issue, but we'll see.
Listen,
hopefully he tweets it or something.
My general opinion is, I'm happy that they finally got this underway. The Ring of Honor TV tapings in general. The big major bullet points of what I've been seeing are very, very promising, extremely promising. Other than that, I think when I looked at like everything that's happening in these tapings, I think over a couple weeks after the initial excitement in the first few weeks, I think this will settle into being a show that every week I will pick out key matches that I need to see in watching them rather than watching the shows in full. And I hope that they do maintain a level of productivity in terms of building Ring of Honor rather than kind of settling into being like, you know, Red AEW Dark, which I don't think it'll go to that level because of the key names. But Honor is real. I'm really excited. I love Mark Briscoe. I love Eddie Kingston. I love fucking Claudio. You know what I mean?
Joe.
Samoa Joe is the man. I'm happy that all these guys have a home to be focused on. I'm happy that the show doesn't have to worry about ratings. And so you can do more experimental things with the structure of the show and match times and what main events. And so I do want to see Tony get kind of weird and creative. I want to see a couple stars be made from pretty much the ground up. Let's see if that happens. We're going to really see Tony's booking chops with these tapings, and I'm very excited for them.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. Obviously, spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the spoilers already or you're actively trying to avoid them, I'll give you a few seconds to get out of here because I'm not going to read out the results per se, like so and so bit. It'll just be like the matchups, and I guess like there's a couple big angles that went kind of like blew up on Twitter. So we'll talk about like the angles and what the actual matchups are rather than who won what match. Although, you know, with Tony Khan booking, you can kind of guess who won each match, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just pretty like easy to figure out. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go through like I said, I'll go through like what all classes like the main matches and anything that like, may have possibly popped any of us. Right. So I'm gonna leave that spoiler warning comment up. So appreciate your ring rust. Okay. Mark Briscoe versus Slim J. Obviously Mark Briscoe, you know,
that's real grabs, bro.
Yeah, that's wrestle. Hey, if football Briscoe in over anyone, bro, I'll pop for it. But you know,
Monty, it's funny with a lot of these. I feel like I can picture exactly what happened. Like this
Yeah.
was like this was 4 minutes. Mark did the shtick, you know what I mean, and then Froggy Bo beat him. You know.
yeah, man, good stuff. Everyone loves Mark. Apparently, he was getting great reactions because fucking, of course.
Hell yeah, of course he would.
There was a Kingdom match. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Blake Christian for the New Japan Television Championship. That was the first thing that I like actively. I think pump my fist at. You know,
Zach is a natural fit for this deal, right? Especially with the belt he's got right now. That can move lots of those TV shows. Yeah.
100%. I really, real quick, I really do hope this segues into Japanese names trickling in more so on Ring of Honor television. The Young Lion types, LA Dojo types, which you already saw with Clark Connors. But even maybe it'd be so cool if we get some CMLL guys on these tapings.
Yeah, 100% get some lucha. Let's get it popping, man. Let's get weird with it. Let's get crazy with it. Let's get people from all over. You know, because you can really get weird with it in Ring of Honor.
Because that's the audience for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Introduce this audience to those guys. Those 100%.
Guys. We got a Christopher Daniels match because, of course, Mr. Ring of Honor. Takeshita versus Josh Woods. That got
very good reviews.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can imagine if that got time and the space to breathe, that Takeshita can definitely.
Woods can go too.
Yeah, he can.
Good that Takeshita's at the taping, and he probably got a win, which is good. You know, it's just good to have him there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. 6-man tag team championships. Aria Davari, Grand Metalik.
Joe said, honor's real, you know.
Look, man, I was a big 205 Live guy, and Aria Davari was there too. So, you have to win some, you lose some, right? You know,
I just think it's so funny that Grand Metalik is in the same company as Bryan Danielson again, and they still haven't wrestled.
It's a little
Madison Reigns.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson.
Yo, Joe, you know what this feels like? When AEW started, right, it was so exciting, and you're just really happy, and you want to support this promotion, right? And the top end of the roster is tremendous, you know, the Elite and Jericho and Pac and guys like that, right? But there was a feeling as a fan where, like, when the less good guys kind of come on, where it's just like, yeah, well, you know, AEW, baby. You know what I mean?
I agree completely. The one thing I will say is there is, and this is absolutely a me thing, folks. So if you think I'm weird, you're right. But there is a charm to not every single guy on the roster being like a fucking incredible, incredible star.
So that's what I was getting at. Yeah. So that's literally what I was getting at with this. Yeah. It's like I look at some of the matchups of these tapings, and I'm like, hey man, Ring of Honor, baby.
Yeah, bro.
It's back to when the early days of when NXT began, because there was a lot of that for me on the weekend watching the spoilers come in.
Yeah,
especially with JJ tweeting a lot of the pictures. Like, it really took me back to those fucking days, looking at the Full Sail tapings come in. You know, that was like
just
really
to emphasize your point. The next one I was going to get to is Wheeler Yuta during a promo was challenged by Timothy Thatcher for the pure title.
I mean, that's real grabs, you know.
That's Ring of Honor, bro.
Ring of Honor, baby.
It's like, I think there was a time back then with NXT where you'd look forward to your game like a squash on TV, and I think this product's going to be like, you're like, oh, King's working fucking Serpentico this Thursday, you know, like King's out there like that. And listen, again, I know that's a weirdo me thing, but that's kind of what wrestling is to me.
TV, So that's why this is gonna sound so stupid, but I remember the first week or two of NXT 2.0, I got a real kick out of it. Only if nothing else was just the format of it. Because it was giving me this weird craving that I needed satisfied when it comes to the format of TV wrestling, because AEW's format was basically weekly supercard pay-per-view type deal, and WWE is its own thing. And it's just, I do miss that weird studio, sometimes a shitty guy will come in and get squashed type of deal, you know? So I do hope this I gotta see how it looks in execution, you know what I mean? But on paper, I like how these tapings sound.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm the only one that knows it, but about the women's matches that are on Ring of Honor, the women that got used, I feel when I look at AEW, I feel like they're so top heavy and they don't really have a middle or an undercard.
Right.
But then when you look at Ring of Honor, that the women they brought in, seems like they don't have any top people, but they have a middle and an undercard.
I think
That's just
I've got a
I think
Fina.
the main match on night one, I think,
Cena's
was
so good.
But the rest, I don't disagree with you. I think they closed the first segment with Athena and Willow, which got a lot of praise from the folks that were there.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that.
So beyond that, I don't think you're wrong, Manny. But I think Athena's a really good kind of like centerpiece, if nothing else, for now. So.
Yeah, so you had at the Tapings we had Willow versus Lady Frost. Then after which Willow challenged Athena. We also got Claudio versus AR Fox, which
is
popped
the
a
main
lot of
event
people.
right, on Thursday.
Who knows, bro?
Yeah,
That
no, that's
tapes
the main
so
event.
much shit.
No, they've announced that. They've announced that. They've announced the Zach match, and they've announced Joe and Mark Briscoe in action, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, we got Claudio versus AR Fox. Then after the match, Eddie Kingston came out, and we got Claudio and Kingston face to face. Yeah, man, a lot of people fired up for this one. A lot of people in the streets celebrating.
Heard that.
This is real graps. This is honor. This is what we've been waiting for. You know, Claudio, Eddie.
I've been missing King, man, in things that are important. This will work for me on that front alone. But the fact he's wrestling Claudio is even better. I mean, all you need with King is he needs a cold promo to set this thing up, and this thing will be red hot by the time it comes around. You can bet your life on it. Like, King will not let this just be another match. That crowd's going to be very invested in this.
He's incapable of it. You give him 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You give him 2 minutes to heat this program up, and he'll make it seem like it's the most important and dire thing ever. Monty, you know what's funny? When this scoop hit our chat, right? I just saw that Eddie was there and challenged Claudio, and it didn't connect in my brain. I popped just because it was like, oh, Eddie Kingston, that's awesome, Claudio. And I'm at work, right? No bullshit. 40 minutes later, it hit in my head that that's the Chikara feud and their whole tension and the heat and stuff. And literally, I almost did really shameless things as a grown man in the middle of his job. I was just like, oh my god!
So here's the thing. This is great because that's obviously the main part in terms of the story, but you also have the thing that the Eddie Kingston character is. He always was kind of seeking, the approval of the gods of the indie scene in the 2000s, right? He was always kind of the outcast. He talked about it a lot with Punk. He got real fired up about it and emotional about shit that happened 20 years ago. The Ring of Honor belt signifies that whole era, right? It symbolizes that time in independent wrestling. So you give Eddie both of those things to play with for promo material. That belt is going to feel like the biggest prize in all the pro wrestling by the time it comes around. I can't wait.
Eddie's the man, and he's definitely the man to make this feel important and push this one forward. We've also got Samoa Joe versus Tony Deppen.
That'll be good.
We do, man.
Yeah, I like Tony Deppen, man.
Me too.
Yeah,
man.
Tony's a nice, scrappy wrestler. He's a good worker.
Yeah, that's what
very
scrappy. Then after which match, Joe was challenged by Mark Briscoe,
that's real wrestling.
Claudio and King, Mark Briscoe and Joe, man. That's
a different kind of fist pump, Yeah.
Yeah. Where that came from your soul. You're like, oh.
Right here.
Dalton Castle and the boys had a match. Rush and Dralistico versus Angelico and Serpentico. Pop.
Yeah, I'm fast forwarding that one.
Trish Adora versus Billy Starks. Billy Starks has been working a lot for Tony Khan Productions.
Bro, Tony Khan made her work, bro. She worked the dark.
Yeah, bro. She's been getting active for TK, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Aria Davari, Slim Jake.
All right, this kind of.
It was a lot of trust.
Elite, Rundown, Trustbusters, Blake Christian said, blah, blah, blah. Willie Utah versus Timothy Thatcher, but
that's good.
Christopher Daniels, BJ Whitmer, and Colt Cabana were the judges.
Pop. That should be the Ring of Honor creative team.
And Willie Utah, after this match, he cut a promo, leaning heel, called out Shibata. Then Clark Connors made his way to the ring and challenged Utah to a match. Aussie Open, Pop, that's a good one. Eddie Kingston, Pop, got a little match.
Got some wins.
And as Joe was saying earlier, Athena versus Willow closed those Saturday night tapings, which were probably about 12 hours long. Okay. Sunday, Claudio again versus Willie Mack. Dante Martin versus Mike Bennett. That could have been good.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh
That's like the setting up. It looks like the setting up Kingdom versus
Yeah.
Top Flight.
Top
It
Flight.
could be.
That was a good match at the previous pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston, and another match for Eddie. Claudio was ringside. Athena versus Hyan. If that's how I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay.
Silas Young, Embassy. Sky Blue, Lady Frost.
Yeah.
Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal defeated
That's
the
sweet.
Outrunners.
Yeah.
And they were confronted by Aussie Open after the match.
Yeah.
That's Ring of Honor, bro. You know, you get underwhelmed and you kind of sit around and then you hear what
Here's my genuine take. All bits aside. Here's where I'm actually at. I do have, as much as I respect it on like a level of just being insane, I do have concerns about Tony's lack of restraint because I do like. I know he wants a lot of rest, but like you have to be a little bit careful. You know, this TV show can't be 2.5 hours every week, bro. We gotta be careful. You know. But I say that, and this is not going to make sense what I'm about, but like he also has to avoid it being formatted like dark, where it's just like a match graphic.
Yeah.
We need like backstage promos and video packages spliced, you know, and
absolutely
a lot of interview time, which again that may result in a longer show. I get that, but that has to be a bigger priority than the 8th Trustbusters match. Like it has to, you know, like tell the Eddie story, tell the whoever the Mark Briscoe story. So the format's going to decide how much I like it. But I'm going to be honest, I'll probably pretend to like it even if I don't really, because it's Ring of Honor.
Joe, you make an amazing point. It cannot play like AEW Dark. Right, it cannot be graphic match. Which is why if this really is going to be a 1-hour show, realistically, it only works if it's a 2 to 3 match show with, you know, a sit down interview with Athena talking to someone. Right. Yeah, Eddie 100%. Kingston in a pre-tape explaining to you why he hates Claudio Castagnoli. You know, we get fucking what's my man's name? Caprice Coleman breaking down like Timothy Thatcher's pure rules match and things like that. Yeah, but I do foresee it kind of being him trying to cram a lot of stuff in there. So.
Well, hopefully, like I said, he's gonna have a, you know, this first lot of tapings, and once it's been edited and put together, and it goes out on TV, right. And he gets a certain type of reception, I'm sure that he'll tweak and he'll play around and he'll find the right formula eventually.
We don't know the length for those matches. You know, like a lot of those matches could be super short. It could almost have a fucking.
There's still a lot though.
Yeah, but, I mean, if it's squash heavy, it could almost be, you know, World Championship Wrestling back in the mid-80s could be like an hour and a half.
Here we go.
I'm just saying, man. You know, you put fucking Eddie Kingston in the
WPW in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Listen. Yeah, the Mid-Atlantic TV show would be like, you know what, an hour and a half or whatever, and like it would have like 9 matches, and like 7 of them are done in a pee break.
That show didn't have Samoa Joe, you know. So
okay. Let's get back on track. Willie Utah versus Clark Connors, obviously the setup on the day before, and you know, call that Shibata again. Mark Briscoe versus Tony Nese. Trish Adora versus Madison Rain. Jesus. Rushin Dristico versus Rhett Titus and Hot Sauce Tracy Williams.
That's a nice team.
That's Ring of Honor. That is Ring of Honor. Matt Taven versus Darius. Brian Cage versus Tony Deppen. Interesting.
That's probably solid. Tony Deppen seems to be their designated Spike Dudley type here. Just a scrappy guy that fights hard against the big guy.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but the chat immediately confirmed that it's not squash heavy and matches got time, which is fucking incredible. I got my Crockett comparison out.
Yeah.
What that you had to in the early days before you still can?
I panicked. I played the Crockett card.
It's like Crockett, brother. And it's like, no, every match were like 15 minutes. It's like, all right.
Yeah. Okay,
Slim J using his entire moveset.
Shane Taylor versus Silas Young. Billy Starks versus Miranda Lees. Aussie Open versus Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal. They actually done that there, and then they closed those tapings with Samoa Joe versus Cheeseburger and a Mark Briscoe.
I'm not sure because they did a Mark Briscoe thing, but there's a chance I thought there was a chance they wouldn't air that Joe match because it was just like so that people see Joe because he's, you know, the big story was that he had the belts, right? So I thought maybe they're not going to. But then I was told Mark Briscoe shot an angle, and I was like, well, I guess we're going to see Samoa Joe versus Cheeseburger on the fucking television. God bless, you know. We'll see.
World famous CB, man.
Look, man, Joe working Universal at this point in his life, that must be a scene. You know, he shows up like 5 minutes before he walks through the curtain, right? Like, well, who am I got? Cheeseburger strolls through Gorilla. Tony gives him a fist bump. Away they go.
Tony
Incredible
loves
times.
it, you know.
Yeah, man.
Tony's trying to hype him up and shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Ring of Honor TV tapings, you know. Hopefully Honor is real. Hopefully we don't fumble this one, you know. It's going to be on Thursdays, which is, you know, they're going to be going head to head with the WrestlePurists podcast. We might have to do some changes.
That's going to be a tough one. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
We're going to take a hit in the first few, but we'll see how many people actually level out and watch it and how much it hurts us and stuff. But if we have to move it around, we'll move it around. It's not that deep.
Right.
Fucking wrestling podcast. Okay, we've got a super chat, but I guess we can kind of we'll close with Ztopia Productions, $4.99. What are 3 dream matches of the current generation of wrestlers? For me, it's Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar versus Gunther, and CMFDR versus the Elite, Punk versus Kenny.
I love every one of those choices.
Manny, 3 dream matches from this current generation of wrestlers. Go.
I'm going with the CMFTR versus the Elite ones. Wait, am I supposed to pick from there or whatever comes to my mind?
No. Just 3. Any pick on. We want to tap into the mind of Manny the Hooper with this one. You know.
I want to see Bryan Danielson versus Mystico.
Of course you do. Wait, what?
Yeah, I was confused.
What do you mean, wait?
What's happening?
Okay. What are your 3 dream matches from existing?
Yeah, what's the...
there's 3 of them?
Yeah, you got to name 2 more.
Manny's struggling tonight, folks.
Kenny versus Punk, and then I still want to see Okada versus Danielson.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do mine real quickly.
Go on, Ibra.
Bryan Danielson versus Gunther. Brock Lesnar, no restrictions versus John Moxley in a Texas Death Match. Their 2016 match stunk, but that was Dean Ambrose. I want them no restrictions AEW setting, Texas Death Match, John Moxley and Brock Lesnar. That's 2, right? And then CMFTR versus the Elite, my 3rd one.
I agree with all of those, and I add Tomohiro Ishii versus Samoa Joe.
Lovely.
Oh, I can't even think of one I can add in, really.
Also, FTR should wrestle Mox and Kingston, but enough about that. Go on, man.
What about Kenny Omega and Brock?
That's tremendous. There's a lot for Brock. You know?
Yeah, that's literally half of them.
Darby is crazy, man. Brock and Darby would be insane.
I just want to see Brock wrestle AEW's best wrestlers.
Well, give it a few months, brother.
Listen, man, Brock's gonna do what Brock wants to do at the end of the day. You know,
yes,
that's all we'll say.
Yep,
that one. But yeah, Brock Lesnar. There's loads of dream matches with Brock, which are like legit, like very high on my like overall list. Like even not Brock versus Gunther. So just seeing them go face to face in the Rumble got me fired up. You know, did something to me. Brock versus Omega is an obvious one. Brock versus Darby is another obvious one. FTR versus... Who do I want to see FTR wrestle? There's got to be someone. Subiguro.
I wanted to put Manny.
Subiguro and fucking Kojima.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's bring Morishima back.
You know what would be really cool? Like, you know, something like you know, because we got Kiyomiya versus Okada, like could be like Kento versus Okada or something like that. Kento's fucking going insane to start this year.
That 6-man was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, bro.
That was my favorite match of the show.
Great match.
It was definitely up there. I rated them all the same. Like the 3 big like highest rated matches from that show. So obviously the Muto Naito match, the Okada Kaito match, the fucking and the tag match. Like, I all rated them like the same, but kind of like for completely different reasons. All 3 of them.
Emoji. What was the number, Monty?
Front
emoji.
corner.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Full
That's
quarter,
around where I went with most of them. Yeah.
Do you notice there how quickly Monty exposed his own ratings? That was a real moment for you there, pal. That was growth. That was
You know what I mean? If you ask me, I'll tell you. You know what I mean?
Well, that
I
was
don't throw them out
always-
there.
That Ring of Honor day where you were like,
I had to investigate that pretty hard, man. It's a pretty tough deal for me, So I'm glad to see it, Monty. Good stuff, mate. Good step.
Yeah, man.
yeah. Those big matches were all really good.
Yeah, of course. Dream matches are dream matches. But yeah, shout out Kento. He's a fucking animal.
Sure.
Right, we got anything we want to plug before we get out of here? I'll start with you, Manny, because you look like you're you're ready to pack it in.
Look at
Did you get my Hooper of the Week?
There we go. There's the plug.
Yes, we missed this last week.
Right, Ibu, do some plugs, fill some dead air while I.
Yeah, listen, guys. If you haven't liked the video, please like the video. We have 153 people still watching us, so I appreciate this audience that we've been able to build for worldwide. Like the video if you haven't. Follow at Montel WP if you haven't on Twitter. That's Monty's personal wrestling Twitter account, where he's gonna tweet his opinions on things. So if that fascinates you and you want to see that, Montel WP on Twitter, follow that account. Shout out to everybody on Worldwide. It's been really fun to do this show. Yeah, man. Like the video.
Joe, any plug?
Okay. Yeah.
LateNightGrin.com, folks. That's where you can see more whole shit like this from Manny and I. Hopefully Manny's feeling better so he can take part in that. He's not particularly great right now, but LateNightGrin.com's got all sorts of stuff involving myself. Manny too, bunch of other people, the famous Bob O'Neill. Go on, Monty, take us home, mate. Who's the Hooper of the Week? Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at this Hooper of the Week.
We ready?
Yeah. All right.
Here we go.
This is what we're doing. Let's pull up the
Okay.
original graphic.
Here we go, folks.
Hooper of the Week.
Look, man, I knocked out these four shows since 2:00 this morning, and man, it was a drag, man. But no matter what time this man came out on to wrestle, I was pumped, or as much as I could be pumped, and I was excited. He's on fire right now in Arena, Mexico. Look, man, I actually haven't watched Cage Mudo match yet, so I thought I was gonna be him, but it's not. I don't go by biases. I'm an analyst. I go by what I see, what I saw. And this man is this week's Super of the Week. No biases right here. Bump it up. Mystico.
Got with Mystico, who is putting in a
Oh
lot
my
of work
God,
for
this
the
image is
Fantastica Mania. How many times did he wrestle this week? 3 or 4 times, man.
3 or 4 times.
He wrestled on every show.
So 4 times.
Yeah.
And
then he's wrestling tomorrow too, or tonight.
He's a hooper, bro. He's a hooper. There it is, people. The Hooper of the Week. I'm going to leave this up as we get out of here. Again, if you haven't already, much appreciated. It only takes you a couple seconds if you logged in. So, just hit the like button, man. It's, it does a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already. And, we'll be back again tomorrow. Don't go live. And, the usual schedule. And shout out Mystico. Peace.
Welcome back, CM Punk.